Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to try it again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. My name is Janelle Giles, the Director of Student Development and Campus Life here at the Woodland Park campus. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to Berkeley College annual celebration of African American History Month. In addition to our faculty, students, and associates here, we have special guests in our audience. Dr. Diane Racinos, Vice President of Student Success. Dr. Dallas Reed, Vice President of Student Development and Campus Life. Ashante Carner, Chief Administrative Officer for Student Development and Campus Life. Linda Pinsky-Morrow, our Campus Operating Officer. Angela Harrington, our Assistant Vice President for Communications and Media. And our Assistant COO, Andrea Nemeth, which is Campus Operating Officer. Thank you for joining us today. We are here to celebrate the vital role of African Americans who have played in the development and progress of America throughout history. In fact, Dr. Randal Pinkett, our guest speaker today, is one of them. It is my pleasure to invite our student ambassador, Elijah Phillips, to the podium to extend a warm welcome. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good morning, everybody. I'm glad everybody could make it. How are we doing today? Good. All right. So, I would like to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you, SDCL, for putting this together. I'm honored that I was actually able to come here and to introduce myself to you guys today and partake in such a wonderful experience with you all. So again, my name is Elijah Phillips. I am a member of FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. I'm a business administration student here at Berkeley College, and I will be graduating in the spring of 2017. It's especially fitting that we, Berkeley College, are hosting Dr. Randal Pinkett's a multi-million-dollar CEO of BCT Partners and author of Campus CEO today, because it gives me the opportunity to draw attention to the fact African American students aren't just going to college, but are also entering postgraduate programs. Over 1 million African Americans hold advanced degrees, and there are more than 2.3 million African American college students right now. But while these numbers are impressive, they don't convey the individual achievements, and that's what Black History Month is all about. On February 12th of 1926, American historian Carter G. Woodson established Black History Week to recall and celebrate the positive contributions to our nation made by people of African descent. For many years, we've set aside the second week of February for this celebration, coinciding with the birthday of abolitionist Frederick Douglass. In 1976, the week was expanded into Black History Month, and so now, it is with my pleasure that I introduce Student Government Association's President, Anya Polanco.
Thank you so much, Elijah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anya Polanco, and I'm the President of the Student Government Association, better known as the SGA, Financial Services Major, Class of 2018. Dr. Randal Pinkett has established himself as an entrepreneur, speaker, author, and scholar, and as a leading voice for his generation in business and technology. He is the founder, chairman, and CEO of his fifth venture, BCT Partners, a multi-million-dollar management consulting and information technology solutions firm headquarters in Newark, New Jersey. Dr. Pinkett has received numerous awards for business and technology excellence, including the Information Technology Senior Management Forum Speaking Award, the National Society of Black Engineers Entrepreneur of the Year Award, and the National Urban League's Business Excellence Award. He has been featured on nationally televised programs such as The Today Show, Live with Kelly and Michael, Nightline, and CNN. In 2009, he was named to New Jersey Governor Corzine's official shortlist as a potential running mate for Lieutenant Governor of New Jersey. Dr. Pinkett is the author of Campus CEO, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Launching a Multi-Million-Dollar Business, and No Money Down CEO, How to Start Your Dream Business with Little or No Cash, and co-author of Black Faces in White Places, 10 Game-Changing Strategies to Thrive, to Achieve Success and Find Greatness, which was named one of the best books of 2010. He holds 5 degrees, including a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Rutgers University, where he competed as a high jumper, a long jumper, and captain of the men's track and field team. A Master of Science in Computer Science from the University of Oxford in England, and a Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, Master of Business Administration, and a PhD from MIT. Most notably, he was the first and only African American to receive the prestigious Rhodes Scholarship at Rutgers University, and was the winner of NBC's hit reality show, The Apprentice with Donald Trump. Born in Philadelphia and raised in New Jersey, Dr. Pinkett is a proud member of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Incorporated, and attends the Baptist Church in Somerset, New Jersey, where he resides. He is happily married to his lovely wife, and they are both proud parents of their daughter and 2 sons. Dr. Pinkett firmly believes that for those to whom much is given, much is expected. So throughout his endeavors, he places great emphasis on his desire to give back to the community. Now, it is with great pleasure that I introduce our wonderful speaker, author of Campus CEO, Dr. Randal Pinkett.
All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Second, turn on this mic. Test, test. Good morning, everyone, again.
Good morning.
All right. It's great to be here at Berkeley College for Black History Month. I want to acknowledge a few people that have been instrumental in coordinating with my team to organize this event. First of all, let's give a round of applause to Anya Polanco, SGA President. And let's give a round of applause to Elijah Phillips for his opening remarks. I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge Janelle Giles, who has worked tirelessly. That's my boss today. I'm her apprentice. She's worked behind the scene and around the scene and in front of the scene to make this possible. So our shouts go out to Janelle. Dr. Dallas Reed, who I've met on prior occasion, who I think might have connected the dots here. And so I want to thank Dr. Reed for her leadership. Let's give her a round of applause, Dr. Reed. Zach Shaw has been phenomenal with like 15 interviews that I did this morning. And the whole media team, communications team, in absentia, President Smith, who's not here, but certainly here in spirit. And I want to also say welcome to our attendees who are not in the room, but are rather coming in from remote locations as part of the Berkeley College family. So thank you for those that are here in Woodland Park. Thank you for those that are here remotely. And in that same spirit, I want to encourage and invite you, if you are not already doing so, to tweet, to post, to Snapchat, to Instagram, whatever your social media flavor of the day is. Put this out there on social media so that those who could not be here can share in the experience, and those who chose not to come will wish that they did come. All right, so I know that the college's hashtag, or rather handle, is at Berkeley College. I'm going to create the hashtag right here on the fly. Berkeley BHM for Black History Month. Berkeley BHM for Black History Month, and my handle is at Randal Pinkett, Randal with 1 L, Pinkett like Jada Pinkett, and now we can get started. All right, so let me say this, that next year it will mark 25 years I've been an entrepreneur. 25 years. I'll explain how I got there in a moment, but let's just say that over the course of my career as an entrepreneur, that I consider myself a student of business, a student of technology, and a student of black business, meaning I've studied other entrepreneurs, I've studied technology in my academic career, and I've studied the careers of black entrepreneurs to learn the lessons that they've learned, that I can apply those lessons to my life. And so I want to speak to you to the following theme. Now, I'm kind of known for this idea of the entrepreneur's mindset, and I wrote this book, Campus CEO, for student entrepreneurs. I was a campus CEO. I'll talk a bit about that. But I want to take a spin off of the entrepreneur's mindset and focus on a slightly related, or rather directly related concept, which is the innovator's mindset. Now, the entrepreneur's mindset, for those that are not familiar with the way entrepreneurs think, is really 5 characteristics: creativity, resourcefulness, courage, resilience, and passion. Creativity, resourcefulness, courage, resilience, and passion. The innovator's mindset is kind of a subset of that mindset. You could kind of think of it as being a part of thinking like an entrepreneur, but not the totality of thinking like an entrepreneur. So my theme is the innovator's mindset, Black business icons who turned failure into success. The innovator's mindset, Black business icons, my role models, who turned failure into success here as we celebrate Black History Month. So I want to begin by talking about not the mindset of an innovator, but rather a trend that sets the stage for the mindset. And that trend is that, as we all know, as students here live every day, we're living in an increasingly technological world. That from CDs to DVDs to MP3s to PSPs to HD TVs, from iPhones to iPads to iTunes to iPods. Sometimes I wish that I had some iTime or iPeace and iQuiet to get some iSleep. Somebody said I heard that. But we can all agree that our world is radically different than the world we lived in, say, 10 years ago, when it comes to how technology has transformed the landscape of how we communicate, how we interact, and how we live our lives. My first job out of college was working for AT&T. And back then, when I graduated college, we ran these commercials that were meant to be futuristic, like things we expected to happen way down the road. And in the commercial, we would say, have you ever sent a fax from the beach? Or have you ever paid a toll without stopping? Or have you ever read a book from 1,000 miles away? And they would fade to black and say, well, one day you will. And the company that will bring it to you is AT&T. Well, think about that. We have all of that today. You can send a fax from your phone from the beach, read a book on the internet that might be 1,000 miles away. You can go down almost every toll road and not have to stop. The only thing that didn't come true is that AT&T didn't bring any of it to you. That was the one thing we missed with all of that futuristic thinking, is that it was brought to you by the likes of Google and Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter, and the list goes on and on. But the implications of technology being so pervasive is that it has accelerated the way that we live. That we have to wait for very few things. That the world that we live in is subject to what I call hyper-accelerated change, fueled by technology. And it creates an environment where, particularly from a business perspective, if you're not able to keep pace with things that are changing very quickly and very rapidly, you can very easily fall behind or become obsolete. And so I believe that to be competitive in the 21st century marketplace, those who will be competitive are those who are able to keep pace with this hyper-accelerated environment that we live in. Those who cannot will not be successful. The sum total of this trend that we've been facing, that you students have lived for your entire lives, is that it's not a temporary shift, but a fundamental change in how our kind of society and marketplace works. I've got news for you, Toto. I have a feeling we are not in Kansas anymore. We're in the midst of a new era with new challenges and new possibilities, which leads to the need for new ways of thinking, new mindsets. And the mindset I want to highlight today is that of the innovator's mindset. That regardless of whether you are an entrepreneur, and I imagine we have some entrepreneurs here, or whether you are an employee, I imagine we have some employees here, or we have those who seek to be new entrants very soon to the workplace. I know we have several of those here. The innovator's mindset, I believe, is one of the signature ways of thinking to be successful in the 21st century. Which begs the question, so what is innovation? Innovation, defined very simply, is the introduction of something new. A new process, a new idea, a new technology, a new way of doing things, a new way of looking at the world. That is innovation. I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight some examples of innovations by African Americans. The elevator, the pencil sharpener, the fountain pen, the traffic light, believe it or not, the super soaker. That's right, the fire extinguisher, the air conditioner, thank God for the air conditioner in the summer, and the heating furnace, thank God right now for the heating furnace, the helicopter, the printing press, the refrigerator, and the list goes on. So that is innovation, the introduction of something new. What is the innovator's mindset? The innovator's mindset is very simply the following: a healthy acceptance of failure as the only way to succeed. I'm going to say it again, a healthy acceptance of failure as the only way to succeed. Now notice I said a healthy acceptance of failure. There is such a thing as an unhealthy acceptance of failure. That's called being a failure. So 3 principles of failure. Let me preface that by saying that success, I believe, is predicated on a foundation of failure. Predicated on it. I see some head shaking. You've been around long enough. You know what I'm talking about. First principle of failure. Failure says nothing about you. It doesn't say anything negative about you. We all fail. It's not personal to say you failed. We all fail. I fail. You fail. We all fail. Second principle. You learn more from failure than you do from success. I see your head shaking again. Oh, we in church today. I got a 3-piece suit, right? You learn more from failure than you do from success. Think about how a child learns. By making mistakes and learning from the mistake, even though we try to avoid the child making the mistake. I still learn that way, right? By making mistakes. Third principle of failure is that success is nothing more than going from failure to failure with undiminished enthusiasm. That's a direct quote from Winston Churchill. So the mediating factor between failure and success is perseverance. That if you're willing to persevere, if you're willing to stick it out, if you're willing to fight the good fight over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, you'll succeed. You'll innovate. In fact, some of the most groundbreaking stories of success, of innovation, are riddled with failure. I'll give you some examples. How many of you have ever heard of WD-40?
Of course.
Okay, I got a couple of hands. So it's a lubricant. And let's be clear how lubricants work. Lubricants work by, and it's a rust prevention agent also, prevents rust. So it works by displacing water. By displacing water, the water cannot cause the rust. So WD-40 was founded by a staff of 3 people who wanted to create a line of rust prevention solvents and degreasers for the aerospace industry. It took them 40 attempts to get WD-40 right. WD-40 stands for Water Displacement Perfected on the 40th try.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. I didn't know it either. I got it on Wikipedia.
I've been using WD-40 my whole life.
You've been doing it your whole life? So it gets better. Who's heard of Formula 409? Show of hands. Formula 409. All right. If you don't know Formula 409, it's a cleansing agent. The story goes like this. 2 young scientists set out to create the ultimate cleaning agent. Only when they had created the 409th formula did they finally get it right. Formula 409. I'd have given up on the 8th formula. I'd have given up on the 100th formula. Not have given up on the 408th formula. 409. How many of you are willing to stick it out 409 times to get it right? Innovation. Innovation. What's the lesson here? The lesson is don't let a setback hold you back, because a setback is a setup for a comeback. If there is no pain, there's no gain. There's no struggle, there's no progress. Oh, wait, I'm not done. If there is no risk, there is no reward. If there is no test, there is no testimony. If there is no trouble, there is no triumph. If there are no problems, there is no power. No disappointment and no discipline, which means sometimes you have to go through in order to grow through. Which means if there's nothing ventured, there's nothing gained. If you don't believe, then don't bother. So go hard or go home, because failure is not falling down. Failure is staying down. And if we look across the history of black business icons, my role models, and their stories of entrepreneurial success, what do we see? We see story after story after story of failure after failure after failure. And that includes my story. So let's look at a few stories of black business icons who failed through the lens of the innovator's mindset, which says it is healthy to accept failure. I want to frame the conversation for those who came here for like a business lecture to say the following. There are 3 ways to grow a business. They're the 3 B's. You can build the business, that is, grow it with your bare hands. Start it from scratch. You can buy the business. You can buy an existing company. Or the third is you can borrow a business, which means you partner with another company to kind of borrow the resources of that company to help launch your company. Most people don't know that Verizon Wireless, for example, is a joint venture of two companies. It's a joint venture of Verizon and a European company, Vodafone. Most people think it's Verizon, but it's actually two companies that own Verizon. It's like borrowing Verizon's capabilities and borrowing Vodafone's and putting it under one roof. It's a borrowed model of building a business. So in that spirit, let me look at our first black business icon, who embodies the first B of building her business with her bare hands. This is an incredible story. As a child, this woman survived sexual abuse at the hands of her cousin, her uncle, and a family friend when she was 9 years old. A self-proclaimed former drug user, runaway teen, and promiscuous teen, she says the following. These are her words, not my words. I've often said over the years, I did things in my 20s that I was ashamed of. I did things I felt guilty about. At the age of 14, she had a premature birth to a baby boy who later died. Now, does anyone know who I'm talking about? Stick with me, thank you, stick with me. Now, I don't know about you, but this story so far does not sound like a story that ends in success. She's shaking her head, you agree with me? Yeah. It sounds like a story that ends in failure, right? But it doesn't. It doesn't end in failure. She got her first break after winning an oratorical contest that gave her a scholarship to Tennessee State University. After winning the Miss Black Tennessee beauty pageant, she caught the eye of a radio show producer who gave her a radio show. Having done so well with her radio show, she got a television show locally. Did so well with the local show locally, she got her own national television show. As a result of having done so well with that, she's one of the first syndicated talk show hosts who went from hosting the show to owning the show, which catapulted her to become the first black woman billionaire. She owns a radio network, a cable network, a magazine, a school in Africa. She's the only person I know who puts herself on the cover of her own magazine every month and still sells copies. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey. Who knew that? It's a bad woman. She made black history as the first black woman billionaire. Wow. And while there are several lessons from Oprah's story that are specific to Oprah around overcoming adversity, there's a broader lesson if you look at her story through the lens of the innovator's mindset. It says it's okay to fail. And that is, Oprah had a gift for communication. She won an oratorical contest. You see it in the way she hosts her shows, the way she communicates. And she had a passion for helping people. You see it in her show, in her angel network, in her school in Africa, in her philanthropy. You see that thread. And what Oprah did was find the intersection of her gift in communication and her passion for helping people. And it's finding that intersection, students, of what you are gifted to do with what you are passionate about doing that I believe is one of the keys to success. You know, I have yet to go to a school or a church that has a chorus or a choir. It doesn't have at least one person who is passionate about singing, but not gifted in singing. If you think that I'm talking about somebody else, I might be talking about you. But the point is, when you find, if gifts are the things you're naturally able to do, and passion are the things you naturally are drawn to do, then when you find that intersection, you unleash your innovative power. Now, I have a passion for business and a gift in technology, and I run a technology business. So, I would say in summary a few things before I move off of Oprah. I would say if there's no passion, there's no point, no passion, no pursuit, no passion, no purpose. And the words of the great theologian and the great prophet, Nicki Minaj, to live doesn't mean you're alive.
Yes.
Passion is what makes us alive. In the words of Oprah Winfrey herself, great quote, when you love what you do, you will never work another day in your life. You can believe this, or you could move to the 51st State of the Union, the state of Canada. Moving on, talked about building the business with your bare hands, Oprah. From the ground up, she built Harpo Studios. Second is you buy a business. You buy somebody else's company and you make that company your own. Second story I want to tell, black business icons, that of Dave Stewart. You probably don't know Dave Stewart, but you're about to get to know Dave Stewart. 1984, Dave Stewart, who worked in the railroad industry and worked for Federal Express, set out to buy a business, and he convinced the owner of a company called Transportation administrative services to sell the company to him. Once he had control of the company, he borrowed money to try to get the company going. He then parlayed this transportation company, thank you, into a technology venture in a growing, more lucrative industry, and he flipped the company to a company called Worldwide Technology. To grow Worldwide Technology, he borrowed more money. And then he borrowed money again. And then he borrowed money again, and then he borrowed money again. In trying to grow Worldwide Technology, he found himself with $3.5 million in debt. That is nothing compared to your student loans. 3.5 million in debt. Somebody's mouth is opened. Now, I don't know about you, but this does not sound like a story that's going to end in success, but end in failure, but it does not. A quote from Dave Stewart on the lowest of his low points. His words, not my words. I had no money, I had 2 kids, I had a wife and a mortgage, and all the things that come with it, but I did not have any resources, but I was determined to make it work. He did not give up, he did not give in. By focusing on delivering exceptional value, Worldwide Technology today is the largest Black-owned business ever in history. $7.4 billion in revenue, 3,200 employees, number 71 on the Forbes list of the largest companies in America. Dave Stewart, an embodiment of the innovator's mindset. If I think about the lessons from Dave's story, the lesson through the lens of the innovator's mindset is that if you're going to fail, fail fast and pivot fast. That there's no badge of honor for failing long, taking a long time to fail. But rather, if you're going to fail, fail as quickly as you possibly can, and then pivot by learning the lessons of what you did wrong to apply them to the new direction that you can do even better down that new path. Learning that technology was where the opportunity was, not transportation, and he had $3.5 million in debt to maybe open up his eyes, he pivoted out of railroad, out of transportation, into technology, failed fast in the first venture, failed faster to get to success faster. That's the reason why you want to fail fast. The faster you fail, the faster you get to success. Third and final example I'll give you. Actually, I'll give you 2 more real quick. Because you said I got 10 minutes, so I can squeeze these in. Maybe I'll take 11. So I want to look at an example that combines building and buying a business. And this is the story of Kathy Hughes, another Black business icon. You know the story of Kathy Hughes? Anybody? Okay, we're going to learn the story of Kathy Hughes. 1978, Kathy Hughes moved to Washington, D.C., took a job as vice president and general manager of a radio station called WYCB-AM. She revamped the radio station as its manager to an all-night gospel music station. With this title, she became the first African-American general manager of a radio station in Washington, D.C., although her dream was to one day own her own radio station. I can respect that. A year later, she saw her dream becoming a reality when she and her ex-husband, Dewey Hughes, sought out to purchase a small Washington, D.C. radio station, WOL 1450, but they needed a $1 million loan to buy the company. So what happened? They went to the banks, asked for loan money, and guess what happened with the banks? They got rejected. Once, and then twice, and then 10 times, and then 20 times, and then 30 times, and then 32 times, they got rejected by the banks. 32 times. That does not sound like a story that's going to end in success. It sounds like a story that will end in failure, but it does not. It does not. They got the 33rd bank to accept their loan application for $1 million. But they were not out of the water yet. Now get this. Finances were scarce for Kathy Hughes. She gave up her apartment, gave up her car, lived in the radio station with her son. Lived in the radio station, and due to a lack of funding, she became the producer, the on-air personality, and the DJ, and played music on the station from her own personal collection. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? She didn't give up. She didn't give in. Largely because of the innovation she brought to the station began generating a profit. She went on to purchase 69 additional radio stations in 22 U.S. cities with now 13 million listeners. She is the president and chairman and chairwoman and CEO of Radio 1 and TV 1 and Interactive 1. and she is the first African-American woman to head a publicly traded company in the U.S., Kathy Hughes, business icon. The lesson very quickly, because I got to move on. The lesson very quickly of Kathy Hughes is, not only did she accept risk, $1 million in debt after 32 rejections does not sound like a great start, right? But she not only accepted failure, but she removed in her mind the consequences of failure, meaning the following. People are not afraid of failure. People are afraid of what might be the consequences of failure. If you remove the idea that there are consequences, if you say to yourself, it's okay if it doesn't work out. It's okay if I fail. It's okay if things don't work out. I can bounce back. Once you accept that mindset, you unleash your innovative potential to do anything. Because you're no longer held back by fear that you might fail, but rather motivated by the idea that if I do fail, it's okay. It's okay. And so the lesson for Kathy is, unleash your creative and innovative power by accepting failure per the innovator's mindset. Last story. Borrow to build a business. I'm going to tell you my story now. Can I add myself into the mix?
Yes.
All right. So, I founded my first company when I was in college, senior in college. I was about your age, right? I didn't know anything about business. I was lost. So I was a campus CEO. I started my first company as a student in college. And I wanted to create a company that sold music and used the proceeds of the music to fund high school outreach. Now, back then, we sold music through a product that you young people are too young to remember called compact discs. Anybody remember compact discs? Yes. Remember compact discs? All right. Street cred for compact discs. I asked one audience, they said, yeah, you mean the big ones? I said, no. So it turns out my roommate, Jeff Robinson, had already started the company doing high school outreach. So I'm like, dude, let's partner. Let's borrow what you're doing, borrow what I want to do, and we'll sell the music and we'll fund high school outreach. So we launched our first company called Mind, Body, and Soul Enterprises, music for the mind, body, and soul. And what happened to that company? It failed. Then we launched a second company with two other classmates at Rutgers on educational services and training for young people called MBS Educational Services and Training. And what happened to that company? It failed. Then we parlayed that into a telecommunications company called Access One Corporation. What happened to Access One Corporation? It failed. Then we parlayed Access One into a company called the Inner City Consulting Group to provide consulting to inner cities. What happened to the Inner City Consulting Group? It failed. It failed. That's right. He's like disappointed. I'm sorry. So then we decided, you know what? Let's leverage what we've been trained to do. We're engineers. We've been trained in technology. Let's start a technology company. We launched a company called BCT Partners, providing technology, analytics, research. What happened to BCT? That one succeeded. Yeah. That one succeeded. But I'm proud to say, after 4 failed attempts, we didn't give up. We didn't give in. Formula 409, WD-40, 32 rejections, Kathy Hughes, 4 for BCT. Reminds me of this great quote. Many of life's failures are people who didn't realize how close they were to success when they gave up. The lesson for us was, it's not just failing and failing fast and pivoting fast, but learning from the mistakes of your failure. For each venture that we failed, we took the lessons of what went wrong, said we're not going to do that again. Didn't guarantee success, but it certainly increased the likelihood of success. As we learned from venture to venture to venture, we kept learning as we moved forward, and that was what allowed us to succeed today. Great quote from Beyonce. I embrace mistakes. That makes you who you are. And so in closing, tie all this together and open the floor for questions. I talked about the challenges and the opportunities of the 21st century. Talked about technology, hyper-accelerated change, fueled by technology, the innovator's mindset to keep pace with this pace of change. Talked about growing a business, the 3 Bs, build it, buy it, borrow it. Lessons from Oprah, Kathy Hughes, Dave Stewart, Randal Pinkett, BCT Partners. And that the lessons here are the intersection of your gifts and your passion, Oprah, right? Removing the consequences of failure, Kathy Hughes. Failing Fast and Pivoting Fast, Dave Stewart. And Learning the Lessons from Failure to Apply Them Moving Forward, Randal Pinkett. If I could sum all this up into one word, that word today is commitment. This is about having a personal commitment to accepting failure as being okay. To saying to oneself, it's all right if things don't work out the way I expected, because you know what? It'll make me a better person. Make me a better student, make me a better leader. It's about instilling this mindset, not someday, but instilling this mindset on Monday. I will close with one final quote, which captures the spirit of my message this afternoon for Black History Month. It says the following: to win without risk is to triumph without glory. To win without risk is to triumph without glory. So let's recommit ourselves this Black History Month in honor of the Black business icons I've shared with you today, to not only winning with risk and not only triumphing with glory, but turning failure into success. Thank you, Berkeley College. We're going to take questions. My boss tells me we're going to take questions. I got you, boss. I'm your apprentice. I told you that. I know. Got to be a few. And let me just preface the young man's question. I am happy to take questions about campus CEO. I'm happy to take them about Donald Trump. I'm happy to take them about The Apprentice. Fire away.
Good morning. Do I need it? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Good morning. My name is William Jimenez. I'm a bachelor's in business administration, graduation in spring 2017. One of my questions has to do actually with your degrees. When it comes to it, how does it feel to walk around with 5 degrees?
When it comes to others.
No, to yourself. How does it feel to walk
Oh,
around
how does it
with
feel?
5
It
degrees?
feels good.
I mean, that's an amazing thing.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So the question was, how does it feel to walk around with 5 degrees? I'm proud of my education. I've worked hard in school, a lot of late nights, a lot of all-nighters. I did not set out to get 5 degrees. I got to be clear about that. It wasn't like my goal to get 5 degrees or to be in school for the 12 years I was in school after high school. I wanted to get my PhD. I wanted to be Dr. Randal Pinkett, and that obviously means 3 degrees, bachelor's, master's, PhD at minimum. Went to Rutgers, got my bachelor's, won the Rhodes Scholarship, went to Oxford, thinking I would do my PhD at Oxford. Got to Oxford, realized Oxford's not the strongest in technology, so I came back to the US to complete my doctoral studies, but I got a master's in leaving Oxford, so that's 2 degrees. Came back to the US, make a long story short, my international master's at Oxford would not allow me to pursue a PhD in the US, because it's a different system, so I had to do another master's. But in doing so, I did a dual degree program, a master's in engineering and an MBA in 2 years. 2 years, 2 degrees, like getting a degree with a coupon. Buy one, get one free. So, bachelor's at Rutgers, master's at Oxford, 2 masters at MIT, then the PhD, 5 degrees.
We have one on that side.
Yep, right there. Yep. You got it.
What I wanted to know is, how did it feel going from?
It works. It works. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, just hold. Just gotta hold it up.
Okay.
There you go.
What
There
I
you
wanted to
go.
know is, how does it feel from going to several failing companies to that $1 billion, multi-million?
You guys are giving me softball questions, right? So the simple answer is it feels good again. The more insightful answer to your question is it's easy to say that now, right? And I can stand up here and I can tell these stories of failure turned to success. And that's an easy story to tell once you've gotten to the success, right? But it doesn't tell the story of how we felt when the first one failed, or the second one failed, or the third one failed, or the fourth one failed. And so the message I'm trying to bring to you today is a lesson I've learned retrospectively. I can't say at failure 4, then I'm like, oh, I'm good. like I'm okay, we just failed again. Like I'm not good. Like I'm frustrated, I'm angry. I've been working hard at this for the past, at that point, 8 or 9 years, and it's not quite working out to my satisfaction. Everyone's been there, right? Where things are not going the way you expect them to go. But what I'm hoping you take away from this is, if you apply the principles of accepting it, learning the lessons, trying to accelerate how fast you fail, there's no guarantee of success. But it certainly means if you're willing to stick it out, you will eventually get to success. I believe that. That Kathy Hughes 32 and WD-40 and Formula 409 and Randal Pinkett and all these other examples, to me, hopefully inspire you to say when you're in that moment of the 4th failure or the 408th failure, that you're still willing to go it again, because you've got examples of folks who win it again and they eventually got to that success.
We have an online question?
Online question from Dover.
Yes, from
Online
Dover.
question
They're
from Dover.
asking, what
What's up,
inspired
Dover?
you to venture into entrepreneurship?
All right, thank you for the question, Dover. What inspired me to entrepreneurship? Great question. So, if you asked me when I started college what I wanted to do, my answer was I want to work in corporate America. I studied engineering. Most of my classmates who studied engineering went on to work in corporate America. IBM, AT&T, Hewlett-Packard, etc., Microsoft. My sophomore year of college, a very close friend of mine who I grew up with, a guy named Wayne Abbott. Wayne and I grew up in the same neighborhood, lived on the same street, went to the same high school, and coincidentally went to the same college. Wayne, as a senior, I was a sophomore, started his own business selling t-shirts. Now, that might not be that impressive to you, saying somebody sold t-shirts, but it was very impressive to me. Why? Because I'd never seen anybody who looked like me running a business. And the minute I saw Wayne selling those t-shirts, I reflected on my experience. I said, you know what? I used to sell lemonade in high school. I didn't make any money, but I tried to sell lemonade. I used to sell candy in the halls of my school. I got in trouble for it. I tried to sell my toys to other kids in my neighborhood when I was a kid. I didn't sell any toys because the kids were broke like me. But I was always doing something entrepreneurial, always. But I never imagined being an entrepreneur because I never saw somebody I could relate to who owned a business. So when I saw Wayne selling t-shirts, I said, if he can do it, why can't I do it? And at that point, I came back my junior year, and that's the year we launched the business selling compact discs, inspired by Wayne. So how did I get started? Wayne Abbott inspired me, and I've never worked for anybody my entire life. I've never had a job. Never had a job. I'm gonna let, where's Janelle? She's going. Where's the mother? You can tell I'm following my boss. We're going to the audience. We're going to the remote sites. There we go. Over here.
Yes.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. It works. Just hold it up.
My
There you
name
go.
is Melissa Rojas. I am a national security major. As you mentioned at the beginning of your speech, you've been an entrepreneur for about 25 years, and you're also involved in community service as well as a motivational speaker. So my question to you is, where do you find the time to do all that you're involved in?
Not much sleep. That's real. I was up to 3 o'clock last night. Yeah. You know, and I'm married with children, right? So I got a lot of things I'm juggling. You know, I can't say I have the answer. If you have advice for me, I'll take it, right? I have some guiding principles, and the first one is set priorities. You can't do everything and be everything. You have to make trade-offs. You know, so I'll sacrifice business opportunities to go to my daughter's piano recital, right? There are times I'll beg her to let me go to the business meeting to miss the piano recital. Like, please, just don't be mad. I'll record it, I'll watch it on TV. So it's about setting priorities and really aligning where do those priorities. So for me, it's faith and family first. And you can be a public success and a private failure. So I got to keep that in my mind when I'm making decisions about how to spend my time. And I got a great team. You know, I got great people around me, so that gives me the ability to do more without it all being on my shoulders. A lot of folks that I'm going back into business try to go it alone. I don't know how they do it. I've got 3 partners. I already told you who they are. And we collaborate, we work together and play on each other's strengths to say, if you need some space, we got your back. And now I got your back because you need space. And so it's that camaraderie that started on a campus like this one that has sustained me, in addition to my family sustaining me, and that passion for what I do sustaining me. But it's about priorities.
We have an online question.
Thank you. Online question from Dover.
We have another question.
Shouts to Dover.
Is your business still growing, and if so, will you be able to retire when the time approaches?
Is my business still growing? Yes, it's still growing. Thankfully, it's still growing. Retirement, I don't know if retirement is in the cards right now. I think of, for those that, again, are entrepreneurial minded, to me, the litmus test of whether you succeeded in business is if you can walk away and the company still grows, right? Yeah. Like if the trajectory of the company, when you walk away, goes like this or goes like this, then you didn't do your job. You should be able to walk away from the company and the company still continues on a growth trajectory. And I could argue that for any organization. If the president of Berkeley College were to leave, we don't want that, but hypothetically, the college would still continue to move forward because it's been institutionalized. There's process and systems and roles and leaders who step in to fill roles to keep things moving. I'm not there yet with BCT. If I leave BCT tomorrow, I can't guarantee it'll continue to grow because I got more work to do. So I'm not at the point yet of retirement, but I'm working toward that. And hopefully in a reasonable amount of time, my partners and I will get there and we'll move on to whatever is the next phase that God has in store for us together.
Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Cardona. I'm pursuing my associate's degree in business administration here at Berkeley College. It's nice to be here with all of you. My question to you is, over the past 25 years, what kept you going through your struggles? Like, do you had a mentor there for you, like to help you out or, to guide you over those 25 years of entrepreneurship?
That's another good question. I didn't have a mentor early on. In retrospect, I wish I did. I would have avoided a lot of mistakes. In terms of what kept me going, so let me put the question into context. So my father passed away when I was in high school.
Sorry for your loss.
Thank you. And as a result of his passing, my mother ended up working 2 jobs to keep lights on, keep clothes on our backs, food on the table. And she sacrificed a lot. Now, I didn't get into my story before college. Let's just say I was a hard-headed young man. And my mother would be here and shake her head and say, yeah, he was hard-headed. But the turning point was college on 2 levels. Level 1 was finding my passion, my calling, my mission, entrepreneurship. Again, Wayne Abbott, I see it, I believe it, I aspire to it. That was motivating, that kept me going. But the second part was in seeing my mother's response to my father's passing and now her having to sacrifice for me to have opportunity, there was a light bulb that went off and said to myself, if she can sacrifice to give you opportunity, the least you can do is honor that by working hard with the opportunity. So it was that combination of circumstances that came into my life that I stayed motivated to honor my father, to honor my mother's sacrifice, and I'm also motivated by the fact that I'm kind of pursuing a path that I believe I'm called to pursue. That combined with the people I've been around, like my business partners, who are like brothers to me. Again, we came through college, came through business, 25 years in together. That's like family. And they keep me motivated, they keep me sustained, and I keep them sustained, because that's what family does. What family does.
Good morning, Mr. Pinkett.
Good morning.
First of all, I'll say thank you for coming out to talk to us.
It's my pleasure.
My name is Sean Claude. I'm a business administration major. My question is, what was the greatest adversity you faced, and how did you overcome it?
Haitian.
Yeah.
Sacrifice.
I believe
Qui j'en ai? Maybe. Maybe. Now repeat the question.
What was the greatest adversity you faced, and how did you overcome it?
Greatest adversity, thank you. I'm over here speaking Haitian Creole. I'm like, what's the question? Greatest adversity. Hands down, my father passing away. Hands down. My father, let me give you an example of the kind of dad I had. When my brother and I told our parents we wanted a video game, that's a reasonable request, right? We want a video game. She's shaking her head. It's a reasonable request. We're like, we want a video game. My dad's response was, if you want to play a video game, you have to make the video game. I was like, dude, is it that serious? He's like, yes. I'm like, really? We gotta make the game. He's like, you gotta make the game. So we came down Christmas Day, opened up this big box thinking it was a video game. It was a computer. We're like, what is this? Who wanted a computer? That thing gathered dust for months. So one day we popped open the box, my brother and I, and we started writing code. Started designing video games and did some real geeky, nerdy technology, Bill Gates billionaire type stuff, right? And that's what I do now. Like I run a technology company. So like my dad was, he thought differently. Like he's not, no video games for you. You're gonna make the game. And it just put my trajectory in a completely different path. So when he passed, for me and my older brother, it was a devastating loss for us. And again, seeing the sacrifice my mother made added insult to injury. And then leaving to go to college, he passed in January of my senior year. So I left for college that summer. So all of those overlapping experiences combined with studying engineering in college, and I'm an athlete, so I'm like, right? So I'm busy. I'm like way busy. I'm maybe too busy, and I'm mourning, and I'm feeling something about wanting to be there for my mother. So it was a mixed set of emotions that I went through from high school senior to first year of college that really took me from being a boarder. It really forced me to grow up and get my act together. All right. The boss.
And we got one right here.
All right.
How are you? My name's Nicholas Reese. My major here is business management, and I finished in spring of 2017. I actually have 2 questions for you, and they actually revolve towards...
Shut that out.
Actually revolves towards my business that's opening hopefully in the summer, which is an international project off of my family's company in Brazil. The first question is did winning The Apprentice catapult your career? And also when you were starting your business, you obviously had to go through advertising, promotion, marketing, and all that stuff. Did you guys do the branding, or did you have a second, third party do the branding for you?
Yeah, good questions. So the Apprentice was absolutely a boost. For those unfamiliar with The Apprentice, although nowadays it's gotten a lot of attention, I was the winner of a reality television show, the 4th season of The Apprentice. It's a reality show based on business. 18 candidates compete each week on a business task. It's a winning team, losing team, somebody gets fired. Final 2, square away, I was the winner. Worked for who is now our president, Donald Trump. Worked for him for a year in Atlantic City, managing a renovation, $110 million renovation. And there's obvious ways that the show helped me. It was a national spotlight, which had a spillover effect to the business eventually. It opened the door for speaking in books and public appearances and things like that. But what was most valuable from the experience of winning the show? So let me put it in the context. I was in my mid-30s when I went on the show, or mid-40s now. And I was running, at the time, a multi-million-dollar company. It was a small business. And I worked for Donald to see the inner workings of a multi-billion-dollar organization. And so I came into the apprenticeship thinking, this is big business. This is a billion-dollar organization. These cats are doing it. I want to do it like these folks are doing it. So I came in, eyes wide open, trying to learn. But as I'm sitting in the meetings with the executives, as I'm sitting in the strategy meetings and the marketing meetings and the sales meetings, I'm like, but this is not that different than what we do at BCT. They got more zeros in their budgets than we do. Yeah. But the fundamentals are the same. And so I walked away from working in a multi-billion-dollar organization saying to myself, I can do that. I can run a company like that. I can make and build a company, or buy, or borrow. I could do what they do because I'm already doing it in the same way, if not in some ways doing it better. So
for the most part, that helped out for the branding of your own company, working inside of that?
Helped out the branding and helped out my thinking, most importantly. And did we do the branding for us? Early on, yeah, because we had no money. We were broke. We had to do everything.
Would you suggest going through a third-party branding company if somebody didn't have that opportunity to do that, if you were doing it on your own per se?
I absolutely would. I would say as a general principle, go to an expert for whatever you need, if you can afford it.
Of course.
Yeah, it's better to buy the expertise than to try to learn the expertise, because it's going to take you longer and you're not going to be as good. You can't be Jack or Jane of all trades. You've got to pick what you do best and then try to partner, however that means, on what you don't do well. You do a whole lecture on that.
Okay, we're gonna take 3 more questions. We have one from Dover, we have 1 student here, and 1 in the back, and we're gonna close the Q&A section, and then we'll have our closing remarks by Dr. Dallas Reed.
Dover.
Yes, Dover would like to know what struggles do you experience as an entrepreneur?
What struggles do you experience as an entrepreneur? Thank you all for coming. No, for real, no, thank you. No problem. Tests and things. Struggles as an entrepreneur, lots of them. I think for me the biggest struggle has been competing with companies that are larger and have more resources than we do. If you think about what we've seen over the past 5 or 6 years, maybe 10 years, we've seen large companies get very large. Think Walmart, think Home Depot, think of the mergers between like Continental and United, or American Airlines and US Air, or Federal Express and Kinko's, or Merrill Lynch and Bank of America. I mean, these are large companies who merged to get even larger. And if you think about what that means from a competition standpoint, it's harder to compete. Because if you were small, and now Merrill Lynch and Bank of America came together, and they created a larger company, and you're still here, it's like, whoa, I had a hard time competing with them when they were separate. I gotta compete with them and they're on the same team. So the hardest thing for me has been, in this era that we live in of what I call scale, where everything is big. You know, I mean, Walmart, if you don't know it, put a lot of mom and pop stores out of business. Because people, they couldn't compete on price, on variety, on selection, and on a number of other dimensions. So my biggest challenge has been competing against larger entities as I'm trying to grow my company. That's my biggest challenge.
Okay, we have 1 right here, and 1 last question.
Save the rest for last.
You need to come up, though. Come a little bit.
Good afternoon. My name is Genesis Sparrows. I'm majoring in business administration, and my question to you is, what has been your secret for success during undergrad?
Secret for success in undergrad. Someone said spill the beans. So you know what? You know, I graduated college with a 3.9 GPA. I had 1 B in college.
Wow.
In expository writing, first year. It's real. I still say it should have been an A, but that's personal. I won't go into that. You know, I think my biggest success story from undergrad, I was always the guy who put in the most hours. And I mean, I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the room. I don't. I think I'm one of the hardest working people in the room. I'm not afraid to study. I'm not afraid to put in 8 hours for a test. I'm not afraid to spend Friday night while everybody in my dorm is out to be at my desk. I'm not afraid of any of that, and that's how I run my business now. So I think for me, it's not been about being smart, it's been about working hard. And my mother in particular instilled that in me because she's a hard worker, and that ethic has really helped me in every facet of my life. Yeah.
Thank you.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Best for last?
Best for last.
Let's do it.
Okay, if you could start all over, what would you do differently?
If I could start over, what would I do differently? It's a great question to close on. Here's what I would do differently. Let me tell you 2 quick stories. Quick stories. I mean quick. So I was the first Black Rhodes Scholar at Rutgers. It wasn't my idea. A professor pulled me aside and said, you should apply. My response was, I'm too busy. He made me apply. The Apprentice was not my idea, it was my wife's idea. He said, I think you should apply. I said, I'm too busy. She made me apply. Were it not for that professor, or not for my wife, I would not have won the Rhodes, I would not have won the Apprentice. The lesson, if I could do it differently, why was I not the one who had the idea I could do these things? Like, why did I not see myself as an entrepreneur without Wayne? As a Rhodes Scholar without Don Brown? As a apprentice without Zahara Pinkett? Why? So if I could do it differently, I'd set my sights higher. It's a great quote by Benjamin Mays that not failure, but low aim is sin. I had low aim. Other people raised my aim. That's what I do differently. I raise the bar for myself. God bless. All right, family. All right.
Let's give Dr. Pinkett a round. Excellent, excellent, excellent. If you guys don't have any motivation after this, I don't know. We're going to have to talk, because we're going to talk about the 3 E's. Next to the podium, I would love to introduce our Vice President of Student Development Campus Life, Dr. Dallas Reed.
Thank you so much, everybody. Typically, I would say there are absolutely no words after hearing Dr. Pinkett. So please, again, join me in a huge round of applause for inspiring all of us today. I want to say very quickly as we wrap up, and I want to piggyback exactly what Janelle just talked about. If you're unable to take away something today, then I challenge you to awaken the consciousness within you. As Dr. Pinkett talked about that innovative mindset, and he talked about being gifted and passionate and perseverance and commitment, one fundamental thing that I walked away with at my ripe old age is that all that you need to succeed is inside of you. It's about how are you going to challenge it. Life is going to happen. If we had a moment to go around this room, those streaming, and ask each of you, what are you facing right now? Work, finances, family, challenges, health issue, the list goes on. Life is not going to stop. So while you're here making this investment towards your dreams and your future, don't let it be in vain. Because the very fundamental characteristics that Dr. Pinkett talked about are the keys to success, but guess what? It starts now. He talked about his lemonade stand. He talked about the motivation of his friends selling t-shirts. I'm not saying no matter what age you are, it's ever too late. But at some point, you've got to look at the person in the mirror and decide, when am I going to start to be my very best? When am I going to do everything with excellence? When am I going to pick myself up, even if I fail, knowing that you tried your very best? You can't ask for anything more than the gift we've been given today. So I personally want to thank you, Dr. Pinkett, for blessing me and realizing even at this juncture in my life, I must continue to challenge myself. The world is not going to give you anything. Times are changing. He talked about the acceleration of technology. You've got to decide today, where are you going to be in the midst of all that? What's going to distinguish you from everybody else competing for the same job you're searching for? That innovative mindset, that perseverance, that commitment, living out the gifts and the passion within yourself. Don't let this moment in time in your life be in vain. I promise you, and I'm a living testament, one phone call, one report, life can change forever. Now is the time, because tomorrow is not promised to any of us. I want to again thank Janelle Giles for her persistence and commitment. I heard him, I was in my seat, amen, and we will definitely be getting you back again. I want to thank an entire team that is streaming, because it does take a village. I know that the success of this department is not because of me, but those that surround me that are by my side. I want to thank also Dr. Diane Racino's, my boss, Dr. Michael Smith. I know if anybody knows him, it is all about our students. If there was any way he could have been here today, he would have been. I want to thank our BIA team. I want to thank Angela and Zachary, our external communications team. I want to thank our amazing federal work study teams, because truly they are the backbone of our success. I want to thank all the media outlets that are here today. I want to thank the library, career services, and if I miss you, charge it to my head and not my heart, because it is not about me, it is about Dr. Pinkett and the blessing he's given each and every one of us. So Dr. Pinkett, if you would please come forward and receive this little humble token of Berkeley love to you. I'd like to present this to you. That's it right there. That's
now. Yeah, he's a Berkeley Knight.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. Now, those who asked questions during this time, you received a ticket. That ticket would afford you an opportunity to get a signed copy of Campus CEO at our book signing in the atrium. We want to thank to you, all our campuses that are streaming live. Thank you for this opportunity, for streaming with us and sharing Dr. Pinkett with us. And we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you and have a great day.